Why is everyone moving to Kitchener, Ontario? If that's the question you have on top of mind, then you do want to stick around because right here in this video, I'm going to dive into the top 5 reasons as shared by my clients as to what's prompting them and many other families to move to Kitchener, Cambridge, and Waterloo from outside of the region, whether it is moving from Greater Toronto area or from somewhere else. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, playing, sleeping, working, anything to do with Kitchener, Cambridge and Waterloo, then subscribe below and tap on that bell for notifications so you can be the first to learn about the current market in and around Kitchener. My name is Dixit. I'm a local real estate agent serving Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and surrounding areas. I do get calls, texts, emails from people just like you who are looking for help in making their move in and around Kitchener, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or you can even schedule a Zoom call. All the info you will find right below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you guys make a smooth move in and around Kitchener, Ontario. Right, so the number one reason that's prompting many families to move to Kitchener is the affordable real estate price points. What I mean to say is, when I say affordable, I'm using it in context with a comparison to real estate prices in, let's say, one of the Greater Toronto area suburbs. I'm not even going to Toronto, but using, let's say, Brampton, Mississauga, or even Milton for that matter. It's a rule of thumb when it comes to real estate. I mean, the further you move away from the epicenter of Toronto, the cheaper the real estate price points will get for you. Whether it's Kitchener or you go in some other direction, let's say going east to Ajax, Pickering, Oshawa, all those towns further east of Toronto, it's the same rule of thumb. So what I'm trying to say is Kitchener does offer that sweet spot where you're not too away from the Greater Toronto area and the suburbs, while at the same time, if you were to compare the real estate prices of a home in Kitchener versus a similar home in one of the suburbs that I mentioned earlier, you will see that there is a stark difference of about $100,000 to $150,000, depending on the house that you look at and the neighborhood, of course. But this is if you were to compare apple to apple, let's say identical neighborhood in both towns, identical homes in both towns, you will definitely see there is at least about $150,000 difference in terms of the real estate price points. So that's actually what's attracting a lot of people because they're getting more value for the money that they pay towards the real estate price. And it does actually, for many first-time home buyers, offers an attractive entry point. Now, one of the other facts people love about Kitchener is the fact that, it's not completely isolated and away from one of the bigger towns. How I mentioned earlier, Toronto is the epicenter where the real estate prices are arguably the most expensive. And whenever someone is trying to find affordable real estate, they try to, expand within their budget as to how far they can feasibly go without being completely disconnected. And that's where Kitchener comes to play, being that sweet spot of not being too far away. So you will not be completely isolated away from your social circle, friends and family. Kitchener is such a spot where you can visit, attend a birthday party on a weekend evening in one of the GTA suburbs and be back at home later in the evening easily with about a 1 hour commute each way. While if you still have to head all the way from here to Toronto, it'll be about an hour and a half, obviously without traffic. Toronto traffic you can't predict. But what I'm trying to say is it's still feasibly possible. If you were to compare with some of the towns further down west, for example, someone moving to London, it's not that feasibly possible for them to commute and visit friends and family or attend to their social circles as often as they would like. So Kitchener is that sweet spot where you're not completely isolated. You're still very much connected to not just GTA suburbs, but let's say Hamilton on the other side, Burlington, Oakville. If you were to look at the other side, Woodstock, London might be about hour and a half from here. So it's still very much central in terms of its location and the connectivity to some of the major towns around it. And that's the fact people love when moving to Kitchener. And to add to what I mentioned earlier about the connectivity, even within Kitchener, what people love about Kitchener nowadays, it's the amount of development we have seen in the recent past, the number of local businesses, retail store, restaurants we have attracted in this town and in the broader Waterloo region in the recent past is what, offered residents with plenty of amenities, whether it's, shopping options, dining options, your entertainment, outdoor recreation, parks, natural areas. It's filled with it. The whole Waterloo region along the banks of Grand River is just full of it. But, in terms of shopping, for example, we have a mall in Kitchener, the Fairview Park Mall, which is kind of at the center right by the Highway 8. And then living in Kitchener, you will still have access to, Conestoga Mall in Waterloo. as well as there is a boardwalk strip plaza along the, right across the University Avenue at the border of Kitchener and Waterloo. So, your shopping options are plenty. You will pretty much get everything you need on a day-to-day basis, no matter what neighborhood of Kitchener you're living in. What I can tell you, the town has, grown out to be such that there'll be just a short walk or a short drive at the very most to get to those amenities. So, even the dining options, if I were to give an example, maybe Kitchener, maybe not so much in terms of dining, but, as soon as you enter yourself into, let's say, Waterloo, your dining options are plenty. I mean, there's not a cuisine that you cannot find in the Waterloo, thanks to the university, crowd and the diversity of options you get when it comes to dining. So what I'm trying to say is it's great in terms of amenities. Well, if you're really looking for something very niche, you might have to, skip this region altogether, head to one of the bigger malls like Eden Center or Square One in Mississauga. But majority of the things you are looking for on a day-to-day basis, you'll definitely find here. You will not miss where you're moving from, whether it's Greater Toronto area or one of those towns. Majority of the things you will find here locally in Kitchener, and that's what people love about Kitchener when moving to Kitchener. One of the other reasons that prompts many families to move here in Kitchener is its self-sustaining work economy. And I've mentioned it again and again, in my past videos. The fact that you're living in Kitchener, you do have access to work options in Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, as well as Guelph. I mean, it might be about 30 to 35 minutes commute to Guelph, depending on where you are in Kitchener, but it's really not that bad. And, if you are, making yourself open to be able to commute to these surrounding towns, it's more than likely that eventually you'll be able to find work locally, whatever your field may be. While Kitchener itself is not that diverse in terms of work options, but, as you broaden your horizon to surrounding towns of Cambridge, Waterloo, and Guelph, well, more than likely, eventually you will definitely find work locally. What people end up doing is, if you're in a hybrid work model, or let's say if you don't have kids, and a lot of young families who move here, initially they do commute to where they're working, let's say to one of the Greater Toronto area suburbs, but eventually, they do end up finding work locally. So unlike some of the other suburbs outside of the Greater Toronto area, where majority of the people do have to actually end up committing to Toronto in some way or another, well, Kitchener, the fact that it has much diverse work economy, you have a fair bit of a chance of finding work locally eventually, and that's what attracts a lot of families to move to Kitchener. And finally, the fact people love about living in Kitchener is the fact that it offers a really good, healthy mix of urban and suburban lifestyle. What I'm trying to say by that is Kitchener, on one hand, you will get to enjoy that suburban lifestyle, especially if you're moving from one of the bigger towns away from Kitchener, you will definitely feel that, you are in a much quieter and peaceful environment. While at the same time, it has all the urban amenities you need on a day-to-day basis, as I mentioned earlier. And the town has definitely seen some tremendous development and the growth in the recent past. So it can no longer be called that, small town away from the Toronto area. I mean, Kitchener is arguably one of the, recognized town in the southwestern Ontario. And the reason behind that is because even within the Waterloo region, Kitchener does offer that sweet spot between Waterloo, which is, too urban, lots of student population, university area, and along those. While there are some definitely quiet pockets, but on the other hand, you have Cambridge, which is very suburban and very quiet. That's actually what people find, especially if those who have moved from the Greater Toronto area. And, myself included, when we moved from Mississauga to Cambridge, we did find Cambridge to be very quiet, not much things to do, while Kitchener is the kind of epicenter of the region. And like I said earlier, it offers that perfect balance of healthy mix of urban and the suburban lifestyle. So that's what people love about it, and that's what we enjoyed living here in Kitchener. Among many great reasons, these are the top 5 reasons that's prompted many families to move to Kitchener and call this place their home. Let us know in the comments below if you have recently moved to Kitchener, or if you're considering to move to Kitchener and you have a particular reason other than what I mentioned here that's prompted you to move here and call this place your home. Nonetheless, if that's the case, and if you are looking to move to Kitchener or surrounding towns, be sure to reach out. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or even schedule a Zoom call. All the info right below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you guys make a smooth move in and around Kitchener. Until next time, well, I do hope to show you around town.